Oh, hi there. I wasn't even live all this time. I've been sitting here. Um, I forgot to click the broadcast button. Hello there, John. How are you this evening? As far as the Avatar prospect goes, I've mentioned how you might understand that they assume a person. It's people kind of call it like a possession, but you're not. They're not. You're not being possessed by demons or spirits. Your nervous system and your neurological functions are being overtaken by these scumbags using remote neural monitoring and taking over your body kind of like a video game character. Uh, now, uh, as it is, the people I've seen them do it to don't even know it's happening or that it happened. So I'm unaware that if they've done it to me, I don't remember it ever. You wouldn't remember it if they did. But I don't think they have to me personally, but I've seen people that they've done it to. Um, and the the person that they actually make say or do things doesn't even remember doing it or saying it. But it's it's not demons or spirits or witchcraft or aliens or you know anything like that. It's evil humans that are exploiting this technology for their clandestine agenda. Now, it's not unlike the premise of MK Ultra or Manchurian Candidate or Orwellian, society, a dystopian society in an Orwellian type fashion or equilibrium type fashion where they manipulate people via, through these different means. In a lot of those movies, it's drugs or it's things like that, or it's like a hypnotism. It it's reminiscent of hypnotism, where you're made to do things that you're unaware of, and kind of like you're being cohabitated by someone else. And I've seen it happen to people. Uh, One very close to me, and they don't remember what they said, um, or that they even said it. And their actions aren't normal for the person. Like I said, it's reminiscent of like MK Ultra or that type of scenario. Um, I was watching a conference with a young gentleman that's, well, it was basically just a podcast broadcast, and they were talking. And it's about, he's invented a shield and a detector, a shield to shield the person from uh, the remote neural monitoring V2K and the manipulation. And there's also like a detector that can detect where He's invented one that the prototypes that can detect exactly where and who it's coming from, what direction and what location. And he's talking about having that out sometime in the earlier parts of next year, March or something. Says not to hold him to that, but that's what they're trying to produce a manufactured version where they can distribute it and try and get it to targeted individuals in a cheap manner. By the way, hi John, how are you doing tonight, this morning, whatever, if you're still in here? If anybody's coming in here. It is 1 o'clock at night, or in the morning here on a Thursday, so there might not be anybody coming in here very much. In one of my last videos, I wrote a chapter of basically a documentary and research and tactics that I'm going to be writing. And some of my experiences are going to be listed in it, and some of the actual instances that the perpetrators, who I will not hesitate to name, are going to be included. As I've said before, if you are a target, not saying who your perpetrators are is not helping you, it's helping them. I know people have a thing about doxing, but if you have definitive proof, it's conducive to, let's say, Edward Snowden or Julian Assange, or let's say you were someone you're not supposed to say who got suicided in jail, Epstein. You'll get flagged for that, but I really don't care. I'm not monetized. They aren't going to be able to take anything from me, so I don't really care. That when you allow these people to remain harassing you in an invisible manner, such as I was in a chat watching a video by another creator, and talking about everybody's favorite chief handler, and chief handler was in the chat, and they were confronting him about why he's always going on to target individuals' comment section or whatever, and always with the same spiel about you're on drugs or you're schizophrenic or no one's stalking you. Why would anybody stalk you? Gang stalking isn't real. Blah, blah, blah. same shit, different day. Um, as these perps, we're going to call them because that's what everybody calls them. They're gang stalkers, but you can call them whatever you want. Flying monkeys, perpetrators, terrorists, criminals. There's a lot of words that can suffice for an explanation about these groups of domestic terrorists. They tend to have the same narrative, of course, because, they run off of an agenda or a playbook that everything that one of them says is designed for defamation or demeaning the target. In other words, it's usually to put you down or to browbeat and cause you to feel low about yourself or try to. That's the intention. It's just the perception of the individual who's being targeted, how you want to handle it. And it's my opinion that however you handle it to get through your assault by these sick, perverted, childish babies is all fine and well, if you choose to stand behind a shield of faith, of religion, whatever. If you choose to say you're fighting witches, what have you, aliens. They are, in a sense, all of these devils, demons, aliens, criminals, warlocks, whatever, people that are using tools or mantra to perpetrate, kind of like the Salem witch trials, burn the witch, which you're supposed to be the witch, and it's all, oh, burn the witch, he turned me into a newt, but I got better, that kind of shit. You look okay, well, I got better, I'm not a newt anymore, but she's still a witch. Look at her. Well, but you put the nose on her and you put the hat on her, or, me, whoever, and the wart on their face, and the illogical thinking that how do you tell what a witch is? Well, if you put them in the water and they float, they must be made of wood, so therefore a witch. But if they don't float, then they're not a witch. So either way, whether you sink or you float, you're branded a witch, or a target is branded a horrible person, because this group of conspirators coerce each other to follow the narrative, whether, however far-fetched the lies are, or the insinuations to put you in Schrodinger's, you know, box with the cat. You know, you're alive or dead until you look at it, until you open the box, and they keep you isolated in the box, so no one can really look at you or look at the cat. So you don't know if they're alive or dead, or you get my thinking. In a sense, it's like time. You know it exists. You know its effects. You know it's there. You know everybody understands it's there, but um, no one can actually prove decisively or definitively why. Right? Kind of like gang stalking. You know it's there. You know the effects. You experience it. You are living it, but you can't you can't prove it definitively because it's highly intangible. Now, there are ways you can prove it. There are things you can do to prove your gang stalking and all that. But the hardest part, like with time, proving what it is, why it is, what's behind it. You know how it works. You know the effects of it because you see them, you feel them, but you can't reach out and touch it. You know what I mean. Kind of like dark matter. But anyway, you know your neighbors are involved. You know that other people in key places are involved. You know that no matter how many people you tell or explain it to, or provide evidence, there's always the flat earthers. And what I mean by flat earthers, the disinformation group, which are perpetrators, because they're regurgitating the same narrative that why would anyone stalk you, blah blah blah, all that kind of crap. So they're the flat earthers, and you're the people that are the target. And the earth is round because if you look up in the sky and look at every other heavenly body, everything is round. A spherical function goes around their whatever corresponding star in whatever system. And the ideology that we live on a disk in a endless universe full of spheres is ludicrous, retarded disinformation behavior, just designed to be foolish. And you can look at it like this, that a very wise man once said, I think it was Carl Sagan, paranoia, just because you can't prove that all these people are out to get you, that, people are out to get you, doesn't mean they aren't. And, um, but when you have loads of them and these extremely organized groups, like George Carlin says, beware of stupid people in large groups. Or don't underestimate stupid people in large groups. Because if they're all spouting the same thing and you're surrounded, it doesn't, however, have any significance how correct you are and how wrong they are when there are, if you're in Schrodinger's box and you're the cat and they're all looking at you, it doesn't matter if you open the box, because you're still, they're still going to say, oh, he's dead, or, he's not dead, or that, because they're all following the same narrative. Now, this is kind of philosophical, a philosophical take on gang stalking and being a target. Now, there's a website that has a list of targeted individuals that self-proclaim where they're at all over the globe, their locations. Now, if you look at that map, there's a high concentration in, California, Texas, New York, Florida, the UK, India, Japan. But two major countries such as China and Russia have only like 3 or 4 dots where people there have indicated that they're targets. Now, that's not to say that, okay, because, the rest of the world is littered with these dots of people saying they're targets, that China and Russia only having a few dots of people indicating that they're targets indicates that, they're responsible. That just indicates that those countries have a suppression on their populace, which they do. And I imagine you're probably more liable to be persecuted should you, put yourself on that list in those communist countries, those socialist type atmospheres. But the person who was talking the other night about his inventions hit on that point about how that's a wonderful thing. Whoever created that page, because it gives you an overall world view of the realistic scope of being a target, that you can look at and say, oh wow, I live here and I'm surrounded by other targets that are being surrounded by gang stalkers. So it doesn't provide you with much comfort, but it does give you the understanding that, as I saw someone say today or yesterday in a comment about that they're the number one target. Well, e- everyone's the number one target. They've told me, "Oh, you're the original target." I'm like, "Yeah, horse shit." Um, that's just that's part of their narrative. They want you to feel like, "Oh, this is everybody's out to get you alone." That that's part of the isolation mentality that these sick, sadistic, perverted morons in in their attempt to coalesce a narrative about you. Now, normally, uh, I I don't uh, try to speculate and use analogies to describe the gang stalking, the epidemic. But it's just I, I've come to the point where I've presented so much evidence, so much research, and uh, stood on the soapbox, and with my bullhorn, and tell it to the powers that be, such as the ABC agencies and whoever the hell you can get a hold of that are governing bodies in the world, and you don't have any sway, because as you look them dead in the eye, as you're talking to the police about it, as you're on the phone with the FBI or whoever you're talking to, or filling out your forms on tip sites, whatever, about your harassment, your threats, and the continual bombardment of V2K harassment and threats and the remote neural monitoring. The very moment you say the word gang stalking, those two words right there, the door shuts. And by what I mean by the door shuts is it's like when uh, when Clouseau is after the Pink Panther, chasing David Niven, stealing the Pink Panther. The second you reach out for the Pink Panther diamond, and you're gonna grab it and actually have it in your hand and have something against these fuckers, all all of the metal plates and everything cover the windows, and the sirens start going off, and you're basically captured, because now no one's going to listen to you anymore. You're put in a prison of obscurity, because you're isolated now, because they're not going to listen to a damn thing you have to say after you mention gang stalking. You could shove a red hot poker up their ass with evidence. You could force feed them a bottle full of it, and have them look at it and still get the look. The look that what the fuck are you talking about, right? You know what I'm saying. What the fuck are you talking about? And that's when the response comes, oh, okay, fine. We got what we need from you. We'll look into it. Bye. Here, see ya. Thank you for submitting your tip. Blah blah blah. We'll get back to you. Don't call us. We'll call you. You get the same from lawyers because that's just the way it is. So, as I have been compiling research, technical knowledge on the subject, evidence, experience, I am at the understanding that the only way we as a targeted individual community are going to get anything done to stop this is to focus on the tangible aspects, such as identity theft, theft of intellectual property, hacking, which I have instances proof of that, and impersonation, such as Frankenstein fraud and frauding banks, because banks don't like to lose money. Banks don't like to be fucked over. And that's what these people are doing with your information and my information. They're fucking them over by billions of dollars. And that's what we're going to have to focus on to stop them. The harassment, the stalking, it's not gonna be heeded. You're not going to be held as credible, no matter how much evidence, because that's part of, as I see it, as I perceive it through experience and reading and watching, there's not going to be any litigation on it. Even though there's been cases brought into court, like the officers, and I think it was Oregon or whatever, that were arrested for stalking, getting called gang stalking. They didn't call it gang stalking, they called it conspiracy. They didn't call it gang stalking. Now, you just hit on something else that I have been investigating, John. The low orbit satellites. Possibly. But I have another theory, which is mesh networks. And I say a mesh network of devices, which are cheap to buy, cheap to build a network. $30 for one of these little devices that creates your own internet. Now, the reason why I say this, that I don't subscribe as much as I did about the satellites anymore after investigating mesh networks. Because with a mesh network, you're not on the internet. They aren't FCC controlled. There's they're not on the internet. You create your own internet, which you can connect your laptops, your cell phones, your tablets, all your devices, in basically an intranet, not an internet, not the internet, in an intranet, which is closed to the public, and only the people that are invited, such as gang stalkers, will have access to it. Yes, a mesh net. And it doesn't have to be on the grid. You don't need a service provider. The devices come with a battery setup that you can either hook it to power, or it'll run a few days just on a battery. So you could either, have it set up to where people go around and change the batteries every couple of days, or you could attach it to power, but it's still not going to be on the internet. It's going to be an intranet, but it's going to be an unregulated internet that these criminals can use. I think that's what they're doing, personally, after more inspection and research, because it's cheap. You don't, once you buy the little device that's like 4 inches long with a little Wi-Fi antenna on it, that's all you have to do. It's paid for. You don't have to pay a bill. You're not going to have any tracking on you about it. And no one is going to be monitoring it. So they can spew their shit to as many people as they have on their mesh network about whatever they want, about the people they're killing, the people they want to kill, the shit they want to steal, the threats they spew at you on V2K that no one seems to hear, even though I fucking record this shit. People hear it, but there's a lot of people that hear it and don't admit they hear it. Okay, I'll try and look that up. I still haven't looked up that. I looked up Robert Duncan, like you'd said before, and I just haven't had a chance to actually look at much of his stuff. But I did look for it and looked at some things he has to say. And I do actually, follow up on things that people tell me, and I have a desire to be Columbo about this shit. One more thing, just one more thing. Got to do just one more thing, sir. Listen, one more thing, and before you go, I'm not a cop. I'm not a detective, but I do have this thing where I like to look at shit objectively and in a realistic manner. Even though it may seem far-fetched, kind of like the X-Files, the evidence dictates the reality of it. Now, as far as you go with evidence, these perpetrators, gang stalkers, terrorists, murderers, killers, whatever you want to call them, because they do all that shit, thieves, whatever, credit card fraudsters, identity thieves, intellectual property thieves, they do all of that. They do all of that. In the hopes to constrict their movements, you have to devise new ways to protect yourself. as far as like I have with my computer. The reason I stay on my computer stays on, and they're able to, uh, hopefully it's not that they're just, you know, playing possum and are able to actually access my computer, that I have them barred from it by not having the passwords in my head. I don't know my passwords. I let Google handle that. I copy and paste them without looking at them and put them into whatever website or whatever application I'm going to use at the time. And I let Google handle that. And that kind of protects me in a sense that if they do get my passwords, that's, you know, gonna help me in the fashion that Google will be responsible for my passwords being taken. Right? Sorry, Google. Not trying to use you, but I'm using you. Um, and you have you have to critically think um, about how you're going to act, because these people with their streaming and the things they say about you, they use everything that you say or think in a code switch fashion. That's the Dust, name of the Dust program I was watching, that they were talking shit about, that, you know, I'm a pervert because I'm watching this and there's two girls sitting there. And I'm like, you know, so if you watch that, they're going to call you a pervert or something like that. But I digress with that. Well, um, you understand with the remote neural monitoring, they're watching everything that you're watching. They hear everything you hear, and they can see everything you think. So they don't actually have to be on your computer to spectate it, because if you're looking at it, they're looking at it through the remote neural monitoring. They're connected to you. You're the surveillance equipment. Your eyes now are the cameras. Your ears are the microphone. Um, your nervous system is their surveillance equipment now. As crazy as it sounds, um, the the patents reflect it. Uh, the cause and effect reflects it. The experience of it happening to you reflects that. And when you get right down to it, um, when you have removed everything possible as the cause, therefore the impossible must be the culprit. And as impossible as a lot of people say, oh, they can't read your thoughts, they can't detect your EMF because it doesn't broadcast, blah blah blah. I'm not going to argue with those people, because I know truthfully that it's different, and that they can do this stuff, and they are doing it. They don't need implants. They don't need some silly fucking fungus covering your body. Um, they don't even have to be connected to your computer. Now, they get your passwords from you, directly from your cerebellum, right back here. You know where you the back of your head. In the back of your head is where you make pictures, where where you visualize what your eyes see, and dreams, and they're accessing that via remote neural monitoring through your EMF signature, which is your fingerprint. I've said this shit before. Just keep having to rehash it. But they don't have to be connected to your devices. They do not have to have a GPS on you. They don't have to know where your car's going, because they know where you think you're going to go. So they know to be there before you get there, because you're saying, "Oh, I need to go to Walmart." And you've already thought, "Oh, I got to go this way to get to Walmart." And you're going to be there. They're going to fucking be there waiting for you. Or you're going to be at the grocery store. You go into the grocery store when you leave your house. They're already on their notification with their mesh network. I'm pretty sure mesh network. I haven't proved it yet, but I'm going to work on that. And they know where you're at. And they can notify everyone via their cell phones through the mesh network, because it's a closed internet. And as long as they hand whoever the keys to that internet to surf that internet or accept messages via that internet, via the internet they've created, any of them can access it. So, but you can't find it because you're not on it. You're not using it. You're on the internet trying to find out what website these assholes are, streaming their stuff on. Well, they can create a server of their own or whatever on their computer and have people come and watch it. And they don't need to have a trail on the internet. So anyway, what are you saying here? Yeah. Anyway, I'm completely awake, and I understand that you know you don't need to try and complicate things by saying that there has to be an implant. If you actually do some research, you'll understand they don't need an implant. They don't have to have an implant. Your EMF signature is what they connect to. And once they have that, they can hand that out like a pamphlet to anybody. But I mean, it's fine if you want to keep believing that they have implants in you, that they're putting nanobots in your food and whatever. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with you about it. But I just know what I've researched, and I've watched all the videos about people saying that, and I'm not down with that. I mean, in the 70s and 80s and the 90s, maybe they needed implants, but they're well beyond implants. But as the process commences, and it is a process, I understand that you have to do research. You have to do your own research and come to your own understanding about it. If you understand, want to understand that they don't need implants, you have to look for it. But just going by what people tell you on YouTube, right? Isn't going to do it. So that's where I'm at right there with that. They have a lot of tools at their disposal. Now, I mean, as I've said before, they used the little dragonfly drone when they were trying to recruit me. They tried to recruit me, saying they were the Men in Black, and I needed to follow this drone, this little dragonfly, over the fence over to somewhere and meet them. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere, and I'm damn sure I'm not going over no fucking fences. You can come right here to my gate and talk to me in person. We can't do that. We have to remain secret. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, genius. Regardless of what the gang stalkers try to um, project you as or paint you as, I'm nobody's idiot. Uh, they've played the game of, oh, we're aliens, and we're trying to help the planet. These people are not aliens. They're not Men in Black. They're not FBI. They're not. They're not. They're not the good guys. Okay, they're not. If if you think it's some clandestine part of the government, maybe it is. Maybe it is. But if it is that, then there's nothing you can do, because they would hold all the cards then. So it can't be that, because they wouldn't bother hiding. They wouldn't bother hiding who they are. They wouldn't try and do this shit in secret. They'd just fuck us over and get it over with. So um, there's not going to be um, uh, a secret organization of of these people that are in control of everything and trying to hide what they're doing. If they're so powerful like they contend, they're damn sure not going to worry about peons like me and you knowing about them. And they do worry about it. They worry about you saying who they are, what they're doing, how they're doing it, why they're doing it, when they're doing it. If they were in control of everything, they wouldn't worry about that. They'd flat out say, oh, yeah, we're they'd come out on the news. Okay, we're doing this rural monitoring shit on everybody. We're doing it now, and there's not a damn thing you're going to do about it. That's the way they would handle this. They wouldn't play this fucking schizophrenia paranoia game. Governments don't do that shit. They either just fuck you or they don't. They don't have to hide in the shadows to screw you over. They just do it. But um I, I'm I, I, I'm spinning my wheels with that anyway. Uh, but like I was saying, They're not aliens. They're not demons. They're not men in black. They're not the good guys, okay? I mean, if they were Superman, or Batman, you would know about it. You would understand that, oh, these guys are trying to do good things. They're not trying to do good things. People trying to do good things don't try to steal your information and kill you and threaten your family and your friends and people, and whatnot. That is not the agenda of the good guys. Now, granted, maybe in law enforcement and FBI and these places, they have people that are placed in there that are fucking shit up. That when you try to report things, they bury it. I'm, I can't deny that that's possible, but that's why they have things like internal affairs to watch the police that police the police. Um, that's that's just the way that is. There's no getting around that. But perpetuating the idea that it's all a new world order, a brave new world equilibrium, Orwellian society being, systematically perpetrated on just lowly people. I mean, they're going after CIA agents. I don't think the CIA is going to go after other CIA. I really don't. I really don't think that the CIA is actually going to go after 200 CIA operatives and in a clandestine manner, and you know and fucking thousands of people in the private sector, and and citizens. Sorry, I'm not believing that shit. The military's not going to do that shit either. They're just going to come and kick your ass. So now, if you want to talk about secret societies like the Freemasons or the Illuminati or uh, whatnot, they have existed. The Skull and Bones and going to Bohemian Grove. Yeah, there are those people that do that shit, but those are bad fucking people. Those are not the good guys. Um, I don't see these gang stalkers going out into the woods and praying to fucking owls, and they're you know running around naked around a fucking bonfire. Um, but anyway, maybe they are. Wouldn't put it past these creepy fuckers, to tell you the truth. But anyway, I digress here. Get back to what I was talking about. They will try to insinuate that there is nothing you can do. They want you to do nothing. They want you not to talk about it. They want you not to investigate it. They want you not to tell anybody about yourself being targeted. That's what they want. They want you to let them stick this foot up your ass and not say nothing about it and not try and do anything about it. Um, they're not going to ever step out of the shadows and and say, hey, we're here, we're the gang stalkers, we're the guys that have been you know projecting fucking voice to skull at you, and speaking in your ear where only you can hear. They're not going to tell you that we're remote neural monitoring the whole world. They're not going to tell you that. They're not. So that is not the tactics of a judicial parliament republic that's gonna, try and take over. They're just going to do it. I mean, they aren't gonna play games with nobodies on the street like me and you. Okay? They're not gonna do this. They're not gonna do this kind of shit. These are criminals that are stealing your information, proliferating dream porn with you involved in it, and making money, stealing your intellectual property, your identity, and Frankenstein frauding banks and getting credit. This is the fucking reality. This is not just this is not some science fiction novel about a secret society that's controlling people for the government. They're criminals. But anyway, I do admit that there are people in key places, organizations like the ABC agencies, that are corrupt and that are part of this shit, and help them do this. And probably some really wealthy people that you would be surprised are behind it. I mean, SIS in Seattle, the security agency that the whistleblower quit working for because they're doing this shit, and he didn't like it, and now he's a target. Yeah, you can Google gang stalking jobs, and you could go find yourself a job as a fucking gang stalker right now. Google right now and go find yourself a job as a gang stalker. You can do that. But I just I don't have any other understanding of it than the fact that they're just shitty people, and they're congregating in groups and conspiring with others and coercing others, blackmailing people, what have you, to grow their ranks and screw people over. That's what's going on. That is what gang stalking is about. To destroy targets after they've used you for everything that they can squeeze out of you, and then kill you or get you imprisoned or whatever, put in a wacky ward. That's the agenda. Simple as that. And I will have to go back to Edward Snowden talking about, yeah, the NSA can do that shit. He watched them. He watched it. He saw them reading people's thoughts as they were typing on their computer and backspacing and reformulating the thought. And he says, we can do this. They've been doing it. The problem is it's not those guys doing it trying to catch criminals anymore. It's criminals trying to fuck over regular people. The technology's out of their control now, and they don't know what to do about it. That's the main problem I see, is all these fuckers know it exists. All these NSA, FBI, CIA, all these fuckers know this exists. The government, they all know it exists. They just don't know what the fuck to do about it. So they choose to ignore it, kind of like climate change. kind of like climate change. They know climate's getting fucked, but they want to try and ignore it and not do something about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking about it because I pretty much said all I'm gonna say right now. Unless of course, yeah, naked around a fire. They're running around at Bohemian Grove right now, John, naked behind a fire, and and praying to this fucking big owl, and yeah, screwing each other up the ass and whatever they're doing, and their hand signs. Illuminati shit. Yeah, fucking stupid. But anyway, those people do exist, but they're fucking nuts. And they're not good people. I don't care how many titles they hold. If they're trying that shit, they're not good people, and they're never gonna be good people. I remember the video where Alex Jones, no less, back before he started going out there with the gay frogs and all this stuff, actually was trying to do some what I would call journalism and exposing that shit. And not long after the time he infiltrated Bohemian Grove and watched them running around naked around the fire, did he kind of snap? I often wonder if maybe that this kind of shit right here, the gang stalking, doesn't have something to do with that. But he was actually trying to do some reporting. He wasn't going on rants about gay frogs and painting himself as a whatever the hell he was painted as. He was actually trying to do something. And it seemed not long after that episode where the guy at the Bohemian Grove was telling him, "Oh, you're not allowed to be here. You shouldn't be doing this." Not long after that, his whole scope changed, kind of like he was manipulated. But anyway, I'm gonna leave you with that right there, and unless someone has any, unless you have any more comments about naked around the fire. It is kind of funny, isn't it? Right? The perception of gang stalking differs with people, but the premise remains the same. The process remains the same. The tactics are the same, but like I've said before, they cater their attacks to the individual based on your belief system and whatever they feel that they can gain a foothold to create disinformation on. So that's why I try to remain objective about it. I mean, I understand that some people think it's, alien, demons, you know what I'm saying, but I don't subscribe to those theories. I'm sticking to the technology and the shitty people, and that they're using the technology to fuck with people that are susceptible to listening to that spiritual demons, aliens, that kind of crap, and religious aspects of manipulating people because of their belief systems. And that's the way I feel. So have a good night. Thanks for coming out.